Blessings, blessings, blessings. It's the Myrie Jane podcast with your host, Sean Myrie. Today, I got a great guest coming through. Yup, bless up to all of you. Yup, we're going to get high on knowledge and education. We're going to tap the brother through, It's coming. It's about that time. Just going to tap him right through. Hold on. 5 o'clock on the dot. Toker, Blessings, brother. What you saying?
Sean, how are you?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
Good. Figured I'd do this outside, hang out, enjoy the good weather while we got it.
That's nice, man. So, tell the people a little bit about yourself. I know you're from Washington, D.C., I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
More or less. Washington, D.C. is kind of like, there's D.C., but there's a lot of overlap between Maryland and Virginia on the suburban side that kind of like rounds out the whole area and separates it from maybe like Western Maryland or something like that. It's a whole different vibe. So, but yeah, we started the site, the royal we, me and the mouse in my pocket. We started the site back in 2016. It was a very exciting time. They had legalized cannabis in Washington, D.C., but Congress stepped in and said, hey, we don't want you guys actually having a retail tax and sales program. We don't want dispensaries in the nation's capital. And so they put a rider in the federal budget. And you guys are going to have to go inside. Hey.
That's all right. Yeah, man.
So they put a rider in the federal spending budget, said DC can't spend any of its own money to actually create a tax and sales retail program like, Seattle, Denver, anything like that. This was early days. This was 2016. So it would have been getting in pretty early. It would have made them the first, place on the East Coast that had legal cannabis sales. So that was a huge, shot in the foot to their ambitions. But so what happened was, and it was amazing because I was at, I remember watching on TV, the mayor was like facing down Congress and being like, we're going to legalize cannabis anyway. Like, you can't stop us. And they were threatening her with jail. They were threatening the DC City Council with jail time if they wanted to move through with legalization. And they called their bluff and they said, yeah, go ahead and do it. And and so what we ended up with was legalization, home grow, and being able to share up to an ounce with another adult 21 or older. And then what people did was they looked at it, they consulted their lawyers and stuff, and they said, oh, I think there's enough room in this whole sharing thing that we can start a business. So what they would do is like, sell you a t-shirt, sell you a hat, sell you anything like that, and then gift you cannabis as a free thank you gift for, patronizing their small business, which is great. And that went, that blew up really fast. So like there were a few people that got in right at the beginning, very brave, testing the waters. And once they saw that, the government really wasn't interested in doing anything about it, then it was just a huge green rush to DC. And so I started the website in the midst of all that, checking out the brands, checking out the flowers that they had, recommending, and doing reviews and stuff like that. But the green rush got so big that, eventually I turned my attention more towards like, consumer education and stuff like that, because it was just me. I can't review all the weed.
I know what you mean. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Like, how has it been financially for like, since legalization down there? Because I know it's helped in other markets, other places.
Well, DC, even though it doesn't have, that's what's kind of great about it, right? Is like, so even though DC doesn't have a retail tax and sales program where, they're collecting, whatever ridiculous percentage of taxes we've seen in some other states, all the money is like going to, people in the community, people around the community. I don't want to like get the wrong impression. There's plenty of people who be like, no, man, there are people that came from California to like sell. And there absolutely were. Again, green rush. There was a lot of people that were all trying to get in on this. And a really exciting time. But, it did keep it all, within, I'd say like it's hard to say. You know, I don't want to say it kept it all within the community. You know what I mean? There were a lot of brands that started locally. There were a lot of people that came in from elsewhere. And, you know, with the way that we've seen the industry go in California, where the price of cannabis is like, you know, dropping through the floor, it became an outlet for the initial green rush was enabled by California legalizing cannabis. So when California legalized cannabis, they had to get all of the medical stuff off of their shelves, you know, all the unlicensed stuff off of their shelves before they open up shop. And so a lot of that found its way to DC.
So what's I'll ask you, because it seems you know a lot. You're very educated in this, right? What is the state, what's the most laxed on cannabis with all the laws?
Ask that again?
Which state is the most laxed, like most relaxed on all the laws? Like you could do the most with cannabis. It's not too much restrictions or anything like that.
That is a good question. Every state's laws are so unique. And I'm hoping to hear some from you about like what Canada is like.
Yeah, because I'm comparing it. I'm comparing it as I listen, and I've done my research down there, and it's kind of like, it's not all the same. Even with politics, I know like every state has its own, it's like its own country to me, right? Because you're not going all by one, you're not going by one rule. Like for example, Canada, we legalized it everywhere. It's everywhere.
Right.
Like you could grow 4 plants, but this is the key, what they done. They probably watched Washington, what they were doing. They made sure they control the cannabis like the liquor, because like for example, the alcohol is sold from the government, right? So you could get a license for a bar, but you're not going to be you don't see it in convenience stores yet. We're just trying to get to that level. Like, you get what I mean? Like whatever Americans do, straight up, I say we are going to do. So we're just getting to that we're going to start to sell beer. You see beer in grocery stores and stuff. Before that wasn't. It's just, you have to go to the beer store, the government liquor store. So that's the same thing with the weed. They want to control the fully dispensaries government, because before we had illegal ones, they let go, because we're more relaxed, I would say, with cannabis for 20 something years. But I'm not saying people didn't get locked up by cannabis here. It's just not the same. It's only if you're a person who has, I would say, a record of big purchases and stuff like, I mean, you're wheeling and dealing, you would get punished. But like person smoking cannabis, a lot of times they'd throw it away, take it from you, stuff like that. $75 ticket 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the same as it is down here. They're not really worried about the individual cannabis consumer, which is always funny when I have people like write me up and they're like, hey, if I try to hit up a weed business in DC, is that illegal? Can I get in trouble with the cops? And I'm like, well, I mean, I really don't think the cops are after you in particular.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, technically, you should ask your lawyer. I'm just some dude on the internet.
I see down
legal advice.
I see down there's trying to become like Canada, because Canada now is like 19 and over, like liquor. You guys are 21 and over, right?
Yeah,
so
21 and older.
They're modeling everything after the tobacco and the alcohol. That's what they're doing. They're doing it like that. But this is the thing of the promotion of it. They make it so hard. Like right now, as we speak, on social media, to promote if you have a business, no matter what you do, as long as it's cannabis, they're going to kind of put some restriction or, you know.
I'm very well aware. If you check out our Instagram stuff, like, I don't use the word cannabis too often. I try to just use the leaves, and we don't have any pictures of cannabis. We take lots of great pictures of cannabis. We don't put them on Instagram. I mean,
yeah. See, yeah,
it sucks.
I learned from that. But you know, the funny thing is changing. It's like a bandwagon system I see with weed, or what do you say, cannabis. Like, for example, now what Burner has done with his social site is popularizing what they wanted to do on Instagram, but Instagram, for example, here, thank you though, is restricting a lot of things, even basic, like some simple stuff. What
just information, news
compared
pages.
to things what I see is allowed, it's not fair. That's all I'm saying. Compared to other things I see allowed, is, for example, now what Burner has done with his social site is popularizing what they wanted to do on Instagram, but Instagram, for example, here, thank you though, is restricting a lot of things, even basic, like some simple stuff. What
just information, news
compared
pages.
to things what I see is allowed, it's not fair. That's all I'm saying. Compared to other things I see allowed, it's ridiculous. They should either have some type of age restriction or different levels of Instagram because it's more matured, because now you have other sites like social, what's going to take a community away from you.
Absolutely. I'm digging the Social Club app. It's great to have a place, a social media place that stoners can congregate. Again, we've had a few of these throughout the years. What usually happens, though, is that the sales get out of hand, and then the government gets involved, and then they shut it down.
Yeah.
Or people stop using it. You know, there was one that was supposed to be for dating called Hi There, and I'd say, like, you know, within 3 to 6 months of launch, like, it was just plugs. That's it. Plugs and people looking for plugs.
That's what I see. That's the battle. That's the battle he has to try to filter that out. I believe he could make it successful because of it's like not just the cannabis culture. He has other parts of different cultures, right, who are coming onto it. So now, for example, now you have different generations are saying, hey, this is something, if you're into cannabis, you could post your business, you could post the type of weed you like. Now, for example, now, my generation, where I grew up in, is the hip hop and urban music culture. So we know Burner's into that. If more of his community, like Snoop, joins, like how he joined Instagram and made Instagram blow up, I don't know if people know that. If he joins them, he brings millions of people to social.
Yeah, I think he said it best himself, you know, that when he was announcing it and trying to get people on it, you know, and it was starting to pick up steam, he said, you know, the community is what we make of it. So get on there, you know, and post, and let's see what happens. I've been surprised so far, you know. It seems like there's a lot of people who are very passionate about the plant on there. And so far, I haven't seen a whole lot of the, you know, infighting and sniping that we've seen on other ones.
That's what makes it good, though. That's what makes it good. That could be its secret ingredient. You know what I mean? For like a good social site. I'm going to ask you, what's the highest percentage you're allowed to smoke in your state? Because I know different states, it's like, I heard they only can smoke from a vapor dry. I think it was Ohio or something. That was like, what?
Yeah. So there are some states like that. Lord help me. There are some states. It's generally like new medical programs in the South or other areas that, you know, have yet to like really embrace cannabis. I know Virginia, when they first started, there was no flower allowed whatsoever, and that's changed. You know, it's literally just like get your foot in the door. Like if the lawmakers say, well, no edibles and no flower, and you can only have like you take it. You say yes. You get your foot in that door. Because within a year or two, we've seen over and over again that they're able to push that door wider open and open up the program to a full range of products. But in general, what you're talking about is limitations in certain medical states. Mr. Maui Wowie, just got flower in Minnesota. So, but, you know, we're expecting some changes there soon. Lawmakers there have said that they are planning to tackle recreational cannabis here in the next session. So that's exciting. In terms of like actual percentage on like an adult use market, I haven't seen anything. Mostly what you would see is like some states will have a restriction on the amount of milligrams you can have in edibles, like per edible, right? Yeah. Like some states it'll be as low as like 10 milligrams, and then like you can have a pack of 10 and get up to 100. But that can be restricted because some people, you know, especially specifically medical patients, might need a much higher dose of cannabinoids. So, you know, if we're going to have restrictive rules around the amount of THC you can have in your edibles on the recreational adult use side. I think it's very important that, you know, those caps are removed on the medical side. If your doctor says that you need, you know, 300 milligrams of cannabis in an edible, it'd be great to be able to get that in one edible versus having to eat like 3 cookies, right? Just calories. I'm old now. I gotta count my calories.
So in the flower, what you usually smoke? What's the percentage you like?
Oh, I don't. That's right. Wow, you got it, man. I'm excited for you guys because you probably come up with some good laws. In terms of percentage, the testing is kind of whack. We had Dr. Jeffrey Raber on the program recently, explaining that even with, let's say, there's no tomfoolery, right? There's no putting fingers on the scale, which is a real problem. But even suggesting that, noblest of intentions, and we did it absolutely right, there can still be a huge variance. You know, the number that you see on the label, that's not the number. It's a number within the range of, you know what I mean? Plus or minus.
It's true, yeah.
I smoke flower. I'm not really worried about the percentage. Like if it gets me high, I'm good. You know, if I need to get higher, well, then we break out the dab rig and let's get going.
yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what I mean. But like, what do you look for? Like I know I like that a certain aroma for my flower. A nice aroma. I like it sticky. Like if I'm breaking it up, I like it like kind of sticky. And, like you just have that smell, like, it's all over. And after, that.
You're on the right track. That's exactly what I tell people to look for. What I've been telling people for years. And it's great to see that this message is like, expanded way beyond that. There's a lot of people talking about what craft cannabis is these days. And it's great to see that conversation being continued forward. Because, again, I'm old. I can't do it forever.
yeah, man. I smoke all types of herbs, man, because my pops, he's a big smoker too. So I grew up around that. So we've seen all different types of flower, but like I like the best one for me is when it's like it has some moisture, sticky, and it's a good aroma. Like it just gets you that aroma.
Absolutely. I'm looking for aroma. I'm looking for flavor. I want it to look healthy overall. I can't necessarily put that into numbers, but if you're looking at a bag and that looks sick, you know what I mean?
It's true.
It's true. I like stuff that smells good. I like stuff that tastes good. In general, the ones that I'm looking for my own personal use, I really like skunk. I really like fuel. I really like pine, which is harder and harder to find these days. But Maryland just got home grove, so I'm going to be trying to hold on to some pine chemovars. And what's the other one? Chocolate. Chocolate's another one that I really like.
Nice.
But I'm not about to throw any of it out of bed. If it smells good and smokes good, I'll smoke it.
That's true. So I'm going to ask you, when did you fall in love with like cannabis? When was your first experience with the plant?
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I was 16, and I was a crazy kid. I actually just get into this on the podcast we were just recording about for next week's episode, because we're tackling a study that says that teen use has not increased during legalization, right? So, I was 16 and I was a pretty crazy kid. Like, if you think I'm weird now, like, oh my God, at 16, I was fucking nuts. So like cannabis really helped me sort of like deal with a lot of the issues that I had with, like depression, anger, anxiety, stuff like that, as well as like, help me to socialize with people. And, the first time that I actually like got high, I was at a house party. And so like me and my friends, we had smoked a little weed, over the past couple weeks, right? Like we break it out, the tin can or the Coke can with the holes in it and shit.
Yeah.
But I didn't get high those first few times. And then we went over to this house party, and we went upstairs to our friend's brother, and he was rolling joints up there, and I smoked like a whole joint, and I was like fucking lit. That song, man, I still don't know the name of it, but that song is like, it dropped a bomb on me. baby. You
I remember.
know?
And that's the thing where you remember the bomb was dropped.
My friend's dad is driving us home from the party, and me and my friend are just like absolutely like shit-faced laughing at this song we've never heard before. And that would be it. But over the years, developed a great relationship with Mary Jane. I mean, it just helped me be productive and actually, part of society, which is what my goal was. You know what I mean? We can certainly debate these days, like whether the goal of your life should be production of value for, rich people in the state or whatever. But that was my goal. I wanted to be part of society or whatever. And cannabis helped me do that by, just calming me down and allowing me to slow down and focus and really just impulse control. That was a real struggle for me when I was young, is patience and I want it now. I want it now. So learning all that, cannabis was a huge help to me and to integrating. And over time, you know what I mean? I don't even really talk about, these days, I don't feel like I have PTSD issues. I mean, I'm sure I've got a thing knocking around here or there, you know what I mean? I'm not perfect, but I'm better. You know what I mean? After all these years, I don't really, the things that happened back then that caused me so much stress and trauma, I don't even really remember them.
So,
and I'm going to prove it by smoking a cigarette.
So you're the Gentleman's Toker, right? So what when did you come up with this name? You have a podcast yourself.
Yeah. Well, I started the whole thing back in 2016 with the rise of legalization in DC. The Gentleman Toker was, one, I just like to play with words. I like to read. I like words. And so sometimes I just combine words in my head. And the concept, though, was that, I talked earlier, I had integrated into society. I had an office job. I was part of the whole 9 to 5 thing. So I'm okay, that's the gentleman side. But then, after 5 o'clock, before 5 o'clock, I'd go off and I'd smoke cannabis. And so that was the toker side, the whole midnight toker thing from the song. And I just kind of updated that, because the idea was, I'm oh man, I'm gonna start this website and I'm gonna be really funny and classy. I'm gonna be indubitably, and then within a month, I was just cussing about weed that I didn't like and going off on stories about slime monsters and stuff. So yeah, it didn't really turn out exactly the way that I thought when I started, but I dig it. I got to be me, and that was really cool. That's what cannabis let me do.
What's your favorite? Okay, I don't know. You said you smoke everything, but what's your favorite, indica or sativa? Or you just smoke indica?
Hybrids. Like I said, I value stuff that allows me to be productive. So you could say sativa, but I find that a lot of the stuff that is very heavily sativa, that you could really identify as that is definitely a sativa flower, the hazes and things like that, tend to be a little too agitating. I need something that pushes it back a little bit. You know what I mean? So yeah. I look for a nice hybrid during the daytime that keeps my brain moving, keeps all the pistons going in order, and then at nighttime, indica. I just re-upped and I got this flower that, and I thought, okay, this one's probably going to be the hybrid and this one's going to be the indica. And my guesses were wrong. That Alpine guava put me in the couch, man.
Well, man, that sounds like it's fresh. I could bet. Right, a little rosy, as I call it. A little rosy, trust me. Especially if it makes your nose kind of, like you're going to sneeze.
Sure.
Yeah. If you have that bag, man. So, when you, do you like blunts or spliffs, what I call paper? Rolling paper?
It's funny. I keep cannabis and tobacco use completely separate. Yeah, no, I'm not into. I've got a friend that does that, and like I'll hit it. I'm not going to turn it away and be like, no, I don't. But in terms of like, especially as somebody that did reviews for a while, it's very important to make sure that the reviews were strictly just the strain as pure as it could be.
It's true. You got to.
But I don't do those these days. I just do the podcast because I'm old and I kept writing the same thing over and over again for like 7 years. And I'm like, I just want to talk to people now. I just want to like talk with cool people that are doing interesting things around weed. Like, I just think it's so interesting. Like say you want to talk about social equity and you sit down with, one set of people and they'll be like, they'll raise your awareness to some issue that you hadn't thought about. And then you bring on somebody else and you talk about the exact same thing, but they've got their whole other angle. And that's what cannabis is right now. So many people are trying to pull in so many different directions. Everybody wants to see their vision of cannabis, take hold over the landscape. And I think it's just so interesting to hear how many, hear from all these people and, kind of get these differing perspectives so we can get a really holistic understanding of the picture of what's going on with legalization. And, and
the only way now is through technology. The way we're doing it is through technology. And that's why I said social. That's how I met you through the social. It really worked because we're on Instagram now.
We are connected from across the world.
See? So from one platform to the other, and I have a YouTube channel I'm building, but even trying to put cannabis on YouTube, you have to be careful. You got to know how to promote on there because I got one strike, right? And it's a new channel. And I'll tell you why I got a strike. I had a buddy on there. I was interviewing, and he has his mouth is a little bit more, potty, you know what I mean? Like,
okay, I got you.
So I did that episode with the cannabis. I'm guessing they get like I didn't know, like maybe I didn't put like the child restriction. I maybe forgot. Strike.
Yeah, YouTube is tough too. I mean, YouTube is owned by Google, and that's funny because we've absolutely seen Google get involved in the cannabis business on their advertising side, but you won't catch me saying anything bad against Google. We love Google. We need Google. Don't tell Google I'm angry.
Yeah. But anyway, it's like that's a promotion because like I'm saying, it's going to happen anyways. Anybody who's developing a cannabis platform on YouTube down the line is going to get a strike. So you got to probably have to make more than one YouTube platform because it's so strict on cannabis.
Well, here's the problem is that, you want to be on the mainstream social media apps because I appreciate you, Maui Wow. You want to be on the mainstream media apps so you can have the widest reach possible, right? Once you splinter off and say, we're going to serve cannabis consumers only, then what you're actually doing is you're splintering it off even further into those that are okay with, their devices knowing that they are cannabis consumers, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks that because it's still federally illegal, and that's what I really envy about your situation up north in Canada is that it's federally legal, so people don't have to worry about that kind of issue. But down here, while it's still federally illegal, and especially in the Washington, D.C. area, people have to worry about their clearances and, career ambitions. And I think, we've seen... We don't know for sure that everything is super secure on these other apps, and so it's going to be it's a hard ask to get people to jump from a mainstream app to a niche app unless they're really into that niche. So
right now for the weed, I'll tell you, Burner is winning right now for the weed compared to this Instagram.
I'm definitely seeing more movement on it. My hope is that he's seeing enough movement on his end that they're going to keep committing dollars to improving it and bringing it up to speed. But they also got to be really careful with the content moderation.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
if they want to keep it going, past legalization. But I love it. It looks like Burner is like becoming like the weed Elon Musk. He's like, oh, you're gonna talk about me? Well, now I created my own social media app, and if you want to do anything, like, I'm the guy at the top. So what's now?
It's true, man. So, like, when you're smoking, what kind of music do you like to listen to? Like, when you're listening to music,
that's a great question. I'm really just looking for music that lets me relax. So, like, really smooth electronic beats, some soulful lyrics in there, but I'm not trying to get too amped up, right? But I'd say I'm getting ready to do a post of like my favorite music from 2022, but I think Joywave's album at the beginning of 2022 was like kicking the doors coming out of the pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, okay, things are normal again, but not normal, and like, boom, but let's all get out there. It was a huge vibe. So I love that album. I've been listening to it all year. Florence and the Machine put out a new album. I'm a huge Florence fan. She is the elf queen. I will see her live anytime I get a chance. She is ethereal. She is amazing. And I'd say like singles that really stood out was like Drama, Don't Hold Back. That was a really great vibe in the middle of the summer.
You gave some people some music to search for right there.
Oh yeah, no, I love music. I was in a band for like 6 minutes, like.
So man,
it's part of my life. And like when I was growing up, I would always notice that my dad was like, old, and he would only listen to music from like his era, and he'd put on Patsy Cline, and anything else was just noise to him. And so, I always thought that was a shitty way to go through life. So I've been very committed to listening to new music, no matter how old I get, and always like, I had my pop phase, and now I'm just in my, like, I want to be able to pretend that I am chilling at the beach when I'm listening to this.
That's good, man. Yo, you want to tell the people where they could get you, link you, like, I know you have many platforms. I see you have a website too.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. We have been writing articles since 2016. And you can find those on gentlemantoker.com. It's a lot of, we really focus on consumer education, right? So if you were looking for information about, lab testing, if you're looking for information about, vape cartridges and some of the issues we've seen with those, I mean, we try to tackle some of the, harder issues, and we get a lot of flack over that, and that's fair. We are prepared for that, because you can't tackle the hard issues without expecting some people to get rubbed the wrong way, is what it is. So you can find that on gentlemantoker.com. The podcast you can also find on gentlemantoker.com. That's what we're doing these days. You can subscribe on Apple or Spotify as well. And you'll get notified right when the new episode drops every Tuesday.
Yeah, man, I subscribe. I've been listening. I like it because I'm a fan of podcasts, so that's on my list. Gentleman Toker's podcast. I listen to it. I have other podcasts myself with me and my brother called the Down to Earth podcast. So we could one day I'll link up again and chop it up, because he's a big smoker too.
That sounds good.
Yeah, man, you could check that one out, Down to Earth podcast too. Just remember that one, and yeah, we could link up on the YouTube the next do another sesh.
That sounds like a plan. This was a lot of fun, Sean.
Yeah, man, much respect. I want people to follow the Gentleman Tokers podcast, follow the Instagram page. He's on social, Apple, Spotify, everything. Thank you for coming through, brother.
Thank you. You guys have a blessed weekend. See you guys on Monday.
See you. Bless. One love.